Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to discuss RAW or JPEG, which is better to shoot in. So we're not only going to discuss it, but we're going to look at some images that I think prove one way or the other. So let's get started. So the other day I was talking to one of my friends named Jim. We met on the channel here, really cool guy. And he does some really good photography work, and he sent me a picture, and I'm going to show it to you right now. And I think that is just a beautiful picture. But he decided since he shot it in RAW, he wanted to see how much detail he could get out of the bottom part. So he put it in RAW. I'm going to show you that picture right now. And it just looks amazing. I think that picture is beautiful either way. I either like it the way it was originally shot or after it was edited. I think either one makes a great picture. But that brought up the question, really, is shooting in RAW worth the problems, or can you get by in JPEG? Because there's pros and cons to both. If you're shooting in JPEG, it's going to be faster. In a JPEG, the camera processes the information for you. You can still edit it, but you can't edit it near as much as you can a RAW file. If you're trying to get the best image possible, shoot in RAW, and then you can go edit the image because it leaves you so much more data for editing. For example, JPEG will give you 256 different shades of color. I believe that's right. But if you're shooting in RAW, it's over 65,000 shades that you have to deal with. So there's a huge difference. But there's also, if you're shooting in RAW, it's going to take up a lot more room. It's going to take up a lot more room in your memory card. It's going to take up a lot more room in your computer. And it's going to take up a lot more room in whatever you've finally stored in. And it's faster to work with JPEGs. You know, they don't have as much information. You can edit through all the pictures faster. You just can't do them as well. And I'm going to show you all some pictures here in a minute that compare the two. But if you're worried about dynamic range and white balance, definitely need to be shooting in RAW because it's so much easier to fix those problems in a RAW image than it is a JPEG. I shoot Canon 99.9% of the time. I'm shooting auto white balance because Canon does a really good job of their white balance. But if it goes off sometime, I know I've shot that image in RAW, so I can fix it in a split second in RAW. You don't have as much leeway to do that in the JPEGs. Some of those guys, if you're getting paid as a wedding photographer and you're getting $3,000 or $4,000 to photograph a wedding, just go ahead and shoot it RAW because they've paid for the best, so give them the best. So when you make the, because if you're at a wedding and you're running and gunning, you don't have time sometimes to make sure every exposure is dead on. You may be off a half a stop or a full stop sometimes at a wedding because you're running and gunning, you know, bouncing lights and things change. Light coming in the windows, everything can change in a hurry at a wedding. As you guys know, you're outside, you're inside, you're in the room with a mirror, you're bouncing. I mean, weddings can just get crazy and you just don't have all that time to make sure. Hold up a light meter, take your reading, test the flash, perfect shot every time. Hey guys, I just want to take this second of your time. If you guys would please hit like and subscribe, it would go a long ways toward helping our channel and help us keep making these videos. Thank you. You just can't do that at a wedding, and not in the digital age. Back in the 80s and 90s, things moved a little bit slower, but now things move so fast, you got to be able to keep up with it. And if you shoot in RAW, you can always fix your problems later. And I've got some images I'm going to show y'all toward the end here in a minute. I did 8 ranges. I did 1 stop over, 2 stops over, 3 stops over, and then I shot 1 under, 2 under, all the way to 5 under. And I'm going to compare pictures of what it looks like. It'll be a JPEG at 1 over versus a RAW shot 1 over. So when you look at the pictures that I'm going to show, they are already edited, but on the image it's going to say if it was a JPEG and if it was +2 stops, or if it was a RAW image, -3. So that's how you'll be able to identify the picture. And some of them are going to be side by side because I want you to see the difference. Because I really believe from looking at the pictures that I tested, if you are even, now if you're 5 stops off, if you're 5 stops over, you just had. RAW, JPEG, nothing's going to fix 5 stops over. Nothing's going to fix that. Even 4 stops over, you're pretty much had. And even really at 3 stops, you're not looking very good but for over. But if you can go under, if you're 5 stops under, you're kind of toast also. But if you're only 4 stops under, which I say only 4 stops, that's a lot to be off. But if you are 4 stops under for some terrible reason, you can then put that in RAW and save that image. But that same image that's shot in JPEG, if it's 4 stops under, you're pretty much had. Now, it's not going to be the most beautiful image in the world, but shooting it RAW at -4 stops is going to look a lot better than shooting JPEG at -4 stops. And I'm going to let you see the pictures in just a second. But if you can get within 3 stops on RAW of under, from 3 stops to perfect, you're good to go. You got to be a lot closer than that shooting the JPEG. If you are 3 stops over you're pretty much had no matter which way you're shooting. But if you're 2 stops over, RAW will save your butt. Where 2 stops over on JPEG, you can tell something's not right. You might be able to get away with it. But when you take a look at these pictures, think and look at them, look at the background, look at the detail, color balance, everything, because at +3, where everything's blown out, you're getting color shifts. And even at the -5, there was a lot of color shifting going on. So you really don't want to be -5s. If you're shooting 5 stops off, you need to learn photography for the first before you get out and do anything for money. So we're not going to bring up the 5 stops very much because that's just way bad. And 4 stops, you don't need to be 4 stops off either, but I did take it down to -4 to see what it'll look like. So I'm gonna quit rambling about these pictures now, and I'm gonna show them to you. So while we watch the pictures, let me go get on my piano and I'll play you guys a tune while you're looking at them. Of course, that wasn't me on the piano. I was just messing with you guys, just having a little fun. All right, so now that you've had a chance to take a look at those pictures, thanks, Jim, for bringing this up. So now that we've got I worked all weekend on this stuff. It's your fault. But anyway, no, I appreciate it, Jim. Thanks for giving me the idea. And that picture you shot was absolutely gorgeous. I don't care which way you put it. I don't care if it was the original way or the way it was edited. I think they both look fantastic. And I'm interested to get your guys' take on what you think about Jim's shot too. And the ones I shot was just a little figurine out front. I was just doing +3 and -5. Just wanted to see what we could get from them. And I think after looking at those pictures, you can tell that you're really good RAW if you're only 3 under and 2 over. So that's about a 5 stop leeway to be RAW. If you're shooting JPEG, I think you're better off you need to be less than 2 under, and you don't really need to be more than 1 over. So that's about a 3 stop leeway. So somewhere between 3 and 5 stops is going to be your leeway for getting an actually good, printable, sellable, customer happy print. And that's going to be your range for that. So you guys let me know what you think about the test. If you shoot RAW or do you shoot JPEG, and what is your opinion on this? But anyway, you guys let me know. And if we're helping you out, you guys give me a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Have a good day.